Today, we're diving into a really cool international project called Green Compass. It brought students together from 4 different countries, all with one goal: to design a more sustainable future. So let's take a look at their blueprint for making a change.
I mean, think about it. How do you get students from Turkey, Romania, Croatia, and Jordan to all work together on solving environmental problems? It sounds pretty complicated, right? Well, this project, Green Compass, actually laid out a super clear roadmap. It all kicked off with this simple but really powerful idea of collaboration.
So, we're going to follow their journey in 5 key steps. We'll start with the initial spark, the big idea. Then we'll see how they built the foundation. After that, we'll jump into the action they took, check out the impact they made, and finally, we'll zoom out to understand the big takeaway.
So, what exactly is Green Compass? Well, at its heart, it's an international project run on a platform called eTwinning. If you haven't heard of it, eTwinning is basically this amazing network set up by the European Commission just for schools. It lets students and teachers team up on projects, literally breaking down classroom walls to work on a shared goal. And in this case, that goal was creating a greener future for all of us. The project brought together students and teachers from 4 totally different countries, all connected online. This wasn't just some local school assignment. It became a real international effort. And that's so important, right? Because you're mixing all these unique cultural perspectives to tackle a problem that affects the entire globe. Okay, let's dig into that first phase and see how it all got started. The first 3 months, from September to November, were all about building a really solid foundation. You can't just build a house on shaky ground, and you definitely can't solve a huge problem without understanding it first. And you can see how smart their 8-month plan was right here. Look at the flow. They didn't just rush into finding solutions. Nope. They started with planning and team building. Then they spent a whole month just getting a handle on pollution before they even thought about designing anything. It's that deliberate move from learning to creating that made their final work so good. Now, what's really fascinating is how carefully they planned the launch. September was all about the adults. The teachers got together, set the goals, and mapped out all the work. Then, in October, the spotlight shifted to the students. They used tools like Google Forms for pre-tests and had Zoom intros to make sure everyone, no matter where they were, started on the same page with a solid understanding of scientific ethics. So with that foundation all set, November was dedicated to their first big topic: pollution. But they didn't just read about it in a textbook. They organized the kids into mixed country teams, and each team got a specific type of pollution to tackle: air, water, soil, or even noise and light pollution. I mean, just imagine a student in Jordan collaborating with a partner in Croatia to figure out air quality issues. That's some powerful learning right there. And to make all this cross-country collaboration happen, they had a shared digital toolkit. Zoom was basically their virtual classroom for all the international meetings, and they used Canva for way more than just pretty visuals. They did stuff like waste mathematics, which is this super cool activity where they use design tools to visualize data and really understand the massive scale of the global waste problem. Okay, so they understood the problem inside and out. The next phase, from December to February, was all about taking action. This is where they made that crucial switch from being students of the problem to being designers of the solution. And their first big task in December, honestly, it was brilliant. They were challenged to design a zero-carbon school. Using Canva, they built models of what their ideal, eco-friendly school would actually look like. This wasn't just about making a list of ideas. It was about visualizing a better, more sustainable world, starting with their own schools. Then, in February, the project got a lot more personal. The students worked together across borders to write letters to the future. And this wasn't just some creative writing assignment. It was a chance for them to pull together everything they'd learned into a message of hope, a warning about the challenges ahead, and a promise to be part of the solution. All right, let's move to the final phase and see how they brought this all to a really powerful conclusion. From March to April, the whole focus shifted to creating a tangible, lasting legacy that they could actually share with the world. And this is how they brought it all home. First, they drafted a youth manifesto, turning their vision into powerful words, a real call to action. Then, they went from ideas on a screen to actual products, creating a real-world exhibit of things they made from recycled materials. And for the grand finale, they held a virtual showcase where they presented their entire journey to everyone. So after all that incredible work, what's the big takeaway here? I mean, why does a project like Green Compass actually matter beyond just being a cool school project?
Well, it starts with this number, 4.
4 countries, hundreds of students, all united by one shared goal. It's proof that collaboration across borders isn't just possible, it's absolutely essential if we're going to tackle these huge global challenges.
And this was so much more than just an environmental project. It was building critical 21st century skills, digital literacy with tools like Canva and Zoom, and genuine hands-on cross-cultural teamwork. But I think most importantly, it took these students from just passively learning to taking creative action, empowering them to see themselves as real agents of change. And that leaves us with one final big thought. This project isn't just a success story, it's a blueprint. If students can team up this effectively across borders to design a greener future, well, the question isn't what they can do next. The real question is, what's stopping the rest of us from following their lead?